We sitting in the mess tent playing card and drinking tea, and the scientists discuss why the glacier is retreating so rapidly. They say what is happening here in down to the complex interplay of climate, weather, and ocean currents. The key is the warm seawater which originate on the other seaside of the world. As the Gulf Stream cools between Greenland and ice, the water sink. This water is salty, which makes it relatively high, but is still a degree or two above freezing. This heavy salty water is carried by a deep ocean current called the Atlantic conveyor all the way down to the South Atlantic. Shifting winds. Here it become parts of the Antarctic circumpolar current flowing deep a third of a mile 530 530 meter below a layer of the much cooler water. The surface water in Antarctica is very cold, just above 2 centigrade degrees, the freezing point of salt water. The deep warm circumpolar water travels all the way around the continent but has been increasingly encroaching on the icy edge of the West Antarctica. This is where our changing climate comes in. The scientist says the Pacific Ocean is warming up and that is shifting and pattern of the coast of the West Antarctica, allowing the warm deep water to well up over the continent shelf. The deep Antarctic circumpolar water is only a handful of degrees warmer than the water above it, a degree or two above 0 Celsius, but that warms enough to the light this glacier up, says David Holland, and oceanographer with New York University and one of the lead scientists at the outgrowing zone camp. I was supposed to leave Antarctica at the end of December, but all the delays means the drilling only begins on 7 January. That is when the satellite phone calls comes from the United States Antarctic Program HU in the McMurdo. We are told cannot delay our flights of the continent any longer and must leave on the supply plane that is due to arrive at the camp in an hour. So it is very frustrating to be forced to leave before the hall is finished and the instruments have been deployed, especially given how long it took to get here. We say our goodbyes and board the plane. I look back and see the wheel at the top of the drill turning, the black hose spooling over steadily. They are almost halfway down through the ice. The plane flies up over the camp and directly north out towards the ocean. The scientist had told me that we have been camped on what is basically a small bay of ice protected by a horseshoe of raised ground. As we fly out over the front of the glacier, I realize that with a shock just how fragile a fingerhold it is. There is no mistaking the epic force at work here, slowly tearing, ripping, and sheltering the ice. In some places, the great sheets of the ice has broken up completely, collapsing into a jumble of massive iceberg which float in drunken chaos.